Ha ha ha. It's time for the Model 3 Owners Club podcast. I'm your host, Trevor Page. Sorry for that short intro. I pressed the wrong button, but that's okay. We'll just get on with things. Oh boy, what a week. Man alive. We've got so much to talk about. It's just crazy. Elon went on another tweet storm this week. We got so much to talk about, so let's just dive in here. I want to bring on my two guests as usual. I have Ian Pavelko from Montreal. Say hi to everybody, Ian. How are you?
I look frozen, Trevor.
Yeah, you look frozen. I wonder what happened there.
Yeah.
It's always the usual things that are going on as we do things, as we troubleshoot here. Oh my gosh. Let me just bring up the stream here. Is what's going on here. Google Chrome at times can be a little bit frustrating. I don't know. Well, I'll just bring it back. There you are, Ian. We're live. Everything is good. Thanks for joining us as usual. And also as our friend Michael Bodner in Florida. Say hi to everybody, Mike.
Good evening, everyone.
Well, let's. Wow. I mean, you guys have been following along here. What's been going on this week? It's just crazy. So, let's get into this here. So, the first thing, before we get into the real meat and potatoes of some of the Model 3 stuff, some stuff that actually came out, Tesla is going to be introducing some new premium data services. So, as of July 1st, anybody who's buying a new car can now expect a $100 per year service fee for some of the data services that they're going forward. Of course, people that bought prior, of course, are grandfathered in, including all the S's and X's, and of course all the 3's at that point. So it looks like they're breaking out some of the navigation features. So you'll have basic navigations, but it looks like the traffic aware things that are going on are going to be extra. I don't think at the end of the day $100 is that big of a deal. I mean, I used to have a car that had an OEM navigation system, and their updates on a yearly basis were at least $150. And I know some others are quite a bit more. Anybody have any experience with those? Like Ian, you had an Audi A4 before. Did you have navigation in that?
No, the A4 didn't have navigation, but my Volt does. And you're right. It's around $120 with the GM update, which I didn't bother with because around town I normally just run Waze. But that's kind of the going rate for most of the updates. And the other thing too is, we're not talking about the music aspect. Depending on how lazy I am, I don't often call Sirius XM to beat them up on a deal. I get a killer deal. I'm paying about that. I'm paying about $8 or $10 a month, and that's on crazy, hold a gun to their head plan. Normally it's around $20 a month just for music I listen to. So you know what? If we're coming in at $8 a month to have fully updated nav and music streaming, I'm totally fine with that.
Yeah, I don't think it's a big deal at all. I mean, $100. I mean, you're spending $60,000 on a car. What's $100? I mean, compared to the other. Mike, have you had any experience with any previous cars, navigation, or any type of updates you had to do before?
Yeah, I do have a couple thoughts on this. I had a Hyundai Sonata before, so navigation was included, but if you wanted live traffic, you needed Sirius XM satellite radio, you needed a certain package level. That was roughly $20 a month, if I recall. And if you wanted the app to remote start the car or do any kind of somewhat okay things, certainly not as good as how Tesla does it, that was another $200 a year. So really, $440 a year to have what Tesla's giving you for free, or at worst $100 a year. And I'd compare it to my Apple Watch. I pay about $13 a month for internet service on my Apple Watch that basically does nothing. This is a great deal, $833 a month.
You have the GPS version? Is that why that costs you extra?
The Series 3 with the data plan, so you could use it without the phone.
Right. Okay. I was actually thinking about it. I've got a Series 1 here, and I was actually thinking about upgrading to a Series 3, but I don't need the cellular thing. I got my phone, so it's good to know not to be spending that kind of money. I'm kind of the same way with some of the services in the car. I mean, you can pay for Slacker, but I listen to podcasts and audiobooks in my car. So I just can't bring myself to pay the extra. I know some people like a Sirius XM because there's some stuff on there, of course. But that's, I had 3 months of Sirius XM when I had my Lincoln, and they begged and pleaded with me to pay for it, and I just said, no, it's just not happening. Just wasn't my thing. So yeah, I think overall, $100 a year, pretty good deal for what you're getting. I mean, that doesn't preclude the fact you're still getting your software updates. Of course, now the software update that just came on the cars that's spreading out, 2018.24 now gives you Wi-Fi. So at least in your garage or whatever, you can still plug into Wi-Fi to get updates and listen to music and whatever else you want to do. So I don't know. I don't think it's that big of a deal. I mean, obviously with the news that's been going around, it hasn't ruffled too many feathers, I don't think. Yeah, I don't know. Well, let's not beat a dead horse. Move on to the next one. This is the big one. The dash cam. Now, Elon tweeted.
That's the big one?
That's well, there's more coming. But right now, as far as, some of the features that Elon's been tweeting about, because somebody pinged him again. Look, what's the deal with the dash cam? Because I think it was August of last year, Elon said that, it's kind of a feature we'll add in there. And Elon said that looks like it's probably, hopefully, he said, hopefully. Now, you got to put that in quotes because this is Elon time we're talking about here. He said possibly in August of this year. So something to look forward to. Of course, most of the updates in version 9 is for the user interface for the Autopilot. So it'll be interesting what they do there. Do any of you have a dash cam in your cars?
I was getting really close to installing one, and I held off. Now I'm definitely going to hold off and see what happens. I was quick to retweet that, and someone did catch it right away and say, he did say hopefully. So
Yeah.
hopefully it does come, but at this point I'll wait, and we'll see if we get it.
What about you, Ian? Have you put anything in yours?
No, I've never done the dash cam thing. I don't know. Cockeyed optimist. I never felt like I really needed one. So yeah, I mean, it'd be cool to have it if this car has it, because I tend to do a lot more long distance travel with it. So greater risks that something can happen. Certainly nice feature to have. But no, up until now it hasn't been a priority.
I see. Well, I did do an install on my Model X, and never again. That's a big job. I do highly recommend people get a professional to do that. I did it. I've done it. I'm good. A lot of people have been asking about this feature for some time, and my opinion's always been OEM implementations are generally not as good. I mean, this would be the first time we actually see a dash cam, I think, actually implemented in software in a car, like from a manufacturer rather than being third party. I have a Blackview. I love it. It's been really great. I've resisted the urge to upgrade to 4K because it's literally not something I ever look at. For me, it's just kind of a safety net. If anything ever happens from an insurance situation, at least I have, or somebody, God forbid, digs my door, or whatever the case may be, at least I have that in the position. But my opinion's always been, look, if you want a dash cam, go buy one. Don't wait for Tesla, because otherwise you'll never get anything. And what happens in between? Like if you ever get in an accident and you need to prove anything and you don't have your dash cam, you'll be like, I should have bought the dash cam, So just one of those things. But yeah, it just points to Tesla, adding extra features to their software and some value add and stuff. So, but I'll be curious to see, how they actually implement that. Okay, boy, we're going to go through some of these topics quick because we want to get to the meat of the stories here this week. It looks like the Tesla pickup truck has started development. This is my opinion. I'm pretty sure that they've got a whiteboard and they've been writing things down. Of course, Elon took to Twitter a few days ago and started asking people, what would you like to see in the pickup truck? You guys saw this tweet storm, and it was a flood of information. Some of the interesting stuff that I saw in there, I submitted the fact that I'd like to see something like a cab forward design, removable bed would be really good. That way they could sell the sled to RV companies, campers, welding trucks, that kind of thing. It makes perfect sense. So hopefully they take that to heart. I saw some other people say, actually my friend Justin Wise, he's in the RV business, and he said, absolutely do not make the bed out of aluminum. I get that. People toss tools in the back of their trucks. The F-150 has an aluminum bed, and it's not pretty. It gets damaged pretty good. He had some good salient points there. Some of the details that came out, you guys want to talk about I'll let you take over, Michael. Why don't you tell some people about some of the features that Elon tweeted out?
Yeah, and I'll say I've never been a pickup truck guy, and as soon as Elon started tweeting, I wanted a pickup truck. So it's amazing. To me, the biggest thing was no need for a generator. So anyone going out into the field doing work, power tools, it even got me, I tweeted, I could charge my Model 3 from the back of a Tesla pickup. That's pretty neat. What was it, 300,000 pounds of towing and 6 seats? It's basically the greatest vehicle of all time.
The one thing that caught my eye was I remember some time ago, Elon, when he first started talking about the possibility of doing a pickup, that he wanted to do something different. He said, I have some pretty good ideas. And I don't know whether one of those ideas actually is something that he tweeted about, but he did mention that he thought it would be a good idea to do something different about the lift or the tailgate. Now, as you know, most pickup trucks have a tailgate that drops down, and he suggested what he wanted to do was put it on 4 arms, hydraulic or otherwise, and actually have it go down much like those delivery trucks have, where you got the bed that comes down to the ground where you can lift furniture up. I thought that was a great idea. Obviously, maybe they can make that an option. It may not be standard and stuff, but, it just shows there's some lateral thinking that's a little different for most of the other manufacturers. I did tweet to Elon. I said, well, you just let the cat out of the bag because, now Ford's going to take that and run with it rather than you, right? So any opinions on what you think, how big this truck may be? I mean, 6 seats, big battery pack. I mean, remember when they introduced the Roadster? They showed a picture of that, like, semi-truck made into a pickup and then a pickup sitting in the back. Do you think it actually could be that big?
That's a tough one because you're talking about something that would be like in a commercial truck size. Like, I mean, that's not going to fit in a lot of standard parking spots. And I mean, it's just going to be heavy, expensive. I mean, it'd be awesome. But, I don't think that's going to hit the heart of the market. Maybe they were kind of just floating an idea with that to see how far it would go. I could certainly see them producing a range of vehicles, like something in a compact, then a standard size one, and then maybe one of these monster ones. This is what you see, like the F450, 550, 650 series from Ford, where you have like commercial grade. They're really like 5-ton chassis with pickup bodies on. That seems to me what that would look like, that concept of it. So I could certainly see that having a market, but I don't see it being a huge market. Like, you're going to talk, it's got to be $100,000 truck at that point, if not more. And there's a market for those, but if they can come in at $50K or something like that as a base price, they'd kill with this thing.
I know some people will probably make comments like, well, Tesla, be a $100,000 truck, but, if you look at a F-150 Raptor, I mean, that's a pretty expensive truck. I mean, I don't know which one I saw in the local showroom, but, when I had my Lincoln, I went in, they had one of the brand new F-150s there, and it was, aluminum and stuff, and this thing was pushing 75,000 Canadian, so it's not a cheap truck. I know the F-150 sells in great volumes in the U.S., and, of course, there's a lot of pickups where I live and stuff. There's a case to be made. I mean, it's a great market for Tesla to get in. It makes perfect sense because that's one of the highest selling cars. But, I mean, I don't know. It'd be interesting to see what their go-to-market strategy is for it as far as the pricing is concerned. We know Tesla is not keen on going on the low end of the market with anything that they do. So, but there's some salient points in there. I mean, the 300,000-pound towing capacity. I mean, a Model X has already been demonstrated to show 250,000 pounds when Elon posted that picture of them pulling that muck rail car out of the bottom of the Boring Company's hole there. That was 250,000 pounds. They pulled an airplane with it too. The thing is, you have to remember about towing capacity, though, is what really matters is uphill. I mean, anybody can, if you have enough momentum, you can get something rolling. A human can actually pull that kind of capacity. You got to get over that inertial, inertia, really, to get things going. But what really matters is being able to pull uphill. Most trucks out there can advertise something like 15 to 20,000 pounds. I know my parents used to have a fifth wheel that they would pull around 20 odd years ago, and they had a big GMC and it had the dualies on the back, and it would struggle. And this was a purpose-built truck to pull these kind of things. And he had to get an intercooler put into it for his transmission and so on and so forth. So I think there's some areas where an electric pickup truck really does make sense. Because you just don't have all these extra things you have to add. It's just torque, right? That's what matters, not horsepower. It's the torque. So I think an electric pickup truck makes absolute sense. But I think Tesla has to be careful on how they position this thing. Unless they have something up their sleeve we don't know about. Maybe they're going to do something on the low end of the scale, maybe on a Model 3 type platform. Who knows? Right?
Well, that's what I'm sorry, Michael, I didn't want to cut you out there.
No,
but just a quick comment. You could do that. I mean, you could have like sort of a lightweight one Imagine, with all the torque and performance you have in the Model 3 chassis, but repurposed for hauling cargo. I mean, it would still have really impressive capabilities in what would be considered a compact class, like something the size of a Tacoma or Ranger. Then you'd go up to something like a standard size pickup, and then again, if they wanted to use a lot of hardware off the semi, then conceivably you could wind up with one of these monster commercial class trucks.
Yeah, absolutely. Michael, any opinions on this, or now that you're a pickup guy?
No, I mean, I think you guys have already said it. It's it'll be interesting to see what they do, how many variants there are. More and more vehicles coming out. Model Y obviously as well. So suddenly they're going to go from having one car to lots of cars and lots of options. It's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah, I just hope they don't spread themselves too thin. They already have enough irons in the fire right now getting this Model 3, hey, there was my cat. It just showed up. Anyhow. Okay, well, I think we bed that horse to a bit of a dead beat there. Let's move on. Let's get into the big news here, which is Model 3 performance car has finally opened configurations as well as some other stuff too. But let's dive into the Model 3 configuration for a little bit. So the performance car has finally come out for configure. Hello, Nutmeg. Sorry about that. He just wants to go and look at the cats outside. Yeah, so they've made some changes. They've made some changes to this. So let me just pull up. I've got a few different pictures here. Maybe I can pull up the first one. Now, unfortunately, I'm showing Canadian pricing here because I couldn't get into the U.S. configurator because when you have a reservation, all it shows you is wherever your locale is. But we're looking at 84.5. I can't read that. I don't have my reading glasses on. Ian, you have an opinion on this, obviously, because you have a vested interest in this, do you not?
Must show restraint. Yes, this totally and completely blew my mind the other night when I'm just sitting there screwing around on the computer. My phone starts lighting up, and I thought, what's going on? And I look down, and it's like, performance is configurable in Canada. Because so immediately I log into my account, and I saw the pricing. And no word of a lie, I had to stare at the screen thinking there's some sort of an error. I mean, did they add some option package just to the dual motor?
You know what? I'm with you 100% on that because the first time I logged in too and I saw the price, I had to do double take.
Yeah.
I was like, no, this can't be right. This must be American pricing.
Yeah. Yeah, because, on previous episodes, I went through that whole comparison with the Excel chart, and we had plotted out based on the U.S. MSRP of $78,000 what it was going to come to Canada, and I was dead to rights convinced we were going to be paying $102. End of story. It would have made perfect sense. That's the straight conversion. Everything else is. So when I see 84.8 on the screen, it was like, that's a mistake. So of course, instantly I pressed configure. I was like having one of those IKEA moments, like start the car, like they made a mistake. Let me configure it right now before it goes away, and then of course I spent a few more minutes looking at it. And the minute I understood that they decoupled a whole bunch of the features that were previously, tied into the performance car, now everything made sense. So, quick story is they overall dropped the price of the car, I think about $6,000 US. Then they decoupled the 20-inch wheels, the carbon spoiler, the aluminum pedals. There's a $2,000 option now if you want the white interior, so that's not technically included anymore. So right there, that drops it again tremendously. So you can basically buy now a Model 3 Performance, as you see on the screen here, with just standard 18-inch wheels, a standard black interior, no spoiler, no funky pedals, for 84.8 Canadian or 64 US, which I'm going to have to do a whole new chart again. They just blew everything I was saying right out of the water. This car now is ultra competitive in its class, especially once you start factoring in the US tax credit. Sadly, that's the only target we missed. It was because we're still 9,000 over in Canada, both for Quebec and for Ontario. We can't get the rebate on it. Quebec can. We can still claim 3,000 because cars between 75 and 125 in Quebec still qualify for $3,000. So that was all the more reason. It's like, but still, they basically called my bluff. It's like, okay, Pavelko, you're bitching about the price in Canada. Here. Now what are you going to do? So, of course, I had to beg, borrow, steal. But I plunged in head first. I think 10 minutes later, I had my thank you for
congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Been a long time coming.
Yeah, that was wild. I was totally resigned to the fact I was going to have a dual motor, no problem. Still going to be an incredible car for all those people just going to the straight dual. It's still going to be amazing, but this is going to be, buckle up.
Yeah, there have been some other changes though too, particularly with the color. So black is still free. All of the colors except for silver not silver, pearl white and multicoat red, they've increased 500 Canadian. And I haven't looked at the American pricing at this point, but they have gone up a little bit. So basically, they're matching what they're doing with the S and the X. The other thing that's changed too is a little bit of some price differences on enhanced autopilot and full self-driving. They've been jiggering with the pricing on that a little bit. And I do remember, I think it was the last financial call, Elon making an offhand remark that he thought that full self-driving was actually too cheap. So we've definitely seen some price changes there, especially if you buy after the fact. Like it used to be $1,000 penalty. It's actually considerably more now. So I think there's some movement on that front, I guess, for people that want the full self-driving. There's a bit of an incentive there. Like if you want it, buy it now because it's going to be really expensive after the fact, especially coupled with the fact that he did say that they're hoping to actually release some of the initial parts of the full self-driving in the next few months. I think it was August, right? So I think there's a push here to try and get people to get into this. And I do know for a fact that a lot of the people that I spoke to, especially in the area where I am, for people that bought the Model 3, that they skipped Autopilot. Full self-driving is a given. Nobody bought it. But a remarkable amount of people did not buy enhanced Autopilot. I think for some reason, in some cases they didn't see value in it, or B, it was just stretching their budgets as it were. Some people said, well, I'll just buy it later on. But I think now with the price increase, I'm like, some people probably be kicking themselves. I don't know. Did you, Ian, you ordered Autopilot?
Yeah, I did. That's the only. Well, I mean, I had to do Midnight Silver. Otherwise, my friends in the Midnight Silver Collective would come up here.
The Midnight Silver Club there on the forum. Yeah.
Yes, that's it. So yeah, but that's my heart was set on that color from the beginning. So yes, there's only two options. I took this, so the Midnight Silver color, and I did take Autopilot. I have to say, I had a moment of hesitation just because, again, I was really pushing the outer limits of the budget. It's like $6,600 Canadian. But again, because I want to do so much traveling in this car, and once you've had it, like I've had it in a couple of rental Model S's, it's so hard to give up. It's so cool just to be able to take that little, kink out of your back and relax that hair. I got to be honest with you, especially as I age and my night vision isn't as good as it used to be, and I get a little sleepy after 10 hours behind the wheel. It's not a substitute, but I like to know in that odd moment of inattention or not being able to make out something on the road, it kind of has my back. That's how I feel about it. So it's not only is it a nice relaxation and convenience feature, but I do honestly believe for those of us who enjoy driving, like to be hands-on and looking out the window, it's like having that, flight engineer on board kind of watching things for you.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I mean, I can't imagine having my car without Autopilot. I mean, I don't use it on the normal streets, but on the highways, it's great. And I'm with you on the age thing. I actually had to buy another pair of reading glasses today, so yeah, not so fun. But I will say, I mean, you guys are proving a point, and I think I said this before. Midnight Silver is absolutely the most popular color on the Model 3. And like all three of the usual guests on this show are all part of the Midnight Silver Club. I was at the winery this past weekend, and I would say 3/4 of them were Midnight Silver, a little bit of white, a lot of red, and one silver, a little bit of white, and some red. Silver is absolutely the least popular color on the Model 3. It just seems like that silver, that fad of silver is passé. Midnight Silver is the new blue, as I say, right? Because everybody else is doing blue.
Midnight Silver is the new silver.
Remember in the 90s it was teal? Everybody had the teal, right? And in the 80s you had to have a brown car. It's just colors are a fad thing, right? They come and go.
Yeah, browns are coming back, man. Browns are coming.
I agree. On the high-end cars, I've seen a lot of BMWs and Mercedes that have that brown or that champagne color. It's coming back. Tesla had a couple of kicks at the cat as far as the brown is concerned, and I think they stopped a little too soon. I still love titanium silver, and I miss it like you wouldn't believe. I would have got a Model X in that color had it been available, but alas, second choice was white. Anyhow. Oh, yeah. So anything else on the configurator front here that might have changed? I was just looking to see anything else on there. I think the other things. Well, let's not beat over that too much. Let's talk about the big elephant in the room, which is this issue of production and deliveries. We're very close to the end of the quarter for Tesla. There's just a handful of days here. Anybody have any thoughts on to what Tesla's going to be announcing?
Well, I have to imagine they're going to tell us that they've sold their 200,000th U.S. car probably on about July 1st or July 2nd. It just feels that way when we're seeing pictures of holding lots with cars all over the place. Why hold on to cars if for any other reason than to delay those sales into Q3?
I agree with you 100%. I'm going to bring up a little something here. I'm going to actually dive into this a little bit. And I know there's been a lot of talk about on Twitter, and there's been a lot of talk on the internet about, when there's 200,000 cars happening. And I just want to go back here and just kind of make a case for this. We all know that Tesla is very close to selling the 200,000 car, delivering the 200,000 car in the U.S. And there's been a lot of talk about what is Tesla going to do to play the system or whatever the case may be. So the first bit of evidence I want to bring up here is a tweet that Elon made on April 3rd, 2016. This gentleman here, Ryan Casburn, had asked Elon, says, planning on delivering up to vehicle basically 199,909 and then waiting until the next 2 quarters to deliver the rest. And Elon responded, he says, we always try to maximize customer happiness, even if that means a revenue shortfall in a quarter. Loyalty begets loyalty. Now, this tweet has stuck in my mind forever. When I saw that, I thought, there is some evidence that they're going to do the right thing for people. So if you take that into context and you look at what's been happening over the last little while, Tesla essentially took what amounts to most of May's production and shifted that over to Canada. And now we get all these pictures of thousands of cars sitting on holding lots in the U.S., people in the U.S. have not been getting configuration emails for like the longest time, and then the floodgates just opened yesterday, right? I'm getting hundreds of tweets. Yay, I'm able to configure. It's all over Facebook. It's just like they just opened up the floodgates. So yes, I think you're absolutely right. This is what's really going on. I think Tesla is going to be announcing very good production numbers. I have a very good feeling Tesla has actually met their production goals for the Model 3. They've reached at least 5,000 cars a week. However, they may announce that their deliveries are a little lower from the last quarter because they've been holding back on purpose to make sure that everybody can qualify, as many people can qualify as humanly possible for the next couple of quarters once they reach the threshold that triggers the phase out. And I think all the pieces of the puzzle are coming together now. It's actually fitting. Any other discussion on this situation?
Well, so interesting thing, just diving quickly back to the performance car. My wife really wants White Knight. It's her dream car. Trev's Model X is her dream car. We spec'd it out. It's like $96,000 US. That's a lot. It also probably doesn't even fit in our garage. We'd figure something out, I guess.
It's hold on. I don't mean to interrupt here, but I just have to point something out here. Today, when I was washing my car, my wife was gone. She took her car out of the garage, and I went, So I decided to try and fit it in the garage with Summon. And Summon just said, Summon would not have anything to do with it. It just went, forget it. It's not going to happen. So anyways, I thought I'd put that out there because people have been asking me. Anyways, carry on. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no, sorry. So I was just going to say, very interesting thing is that the least expensive White Knight is now a Model 3 Performance. White on white, $67,000 US to get the car. That's pretty reasonable for what you're getting. And if you look at the delivery timeframes, I think we could order today, configure today, and still get it before the end of the year and get the $7,500 credit as well. So we might be ordering another Model 3 in the next couple of days here. So we'll see what happens.
Go big or go home. Well,
unfortunately, hers will be faster than mine. So
I saw that on the forum today, Michael, and I was just like, Yes, it's like I said, unassailable logic. You can't question with her thinking on this. It is indeed by far the bargain if you want a white interior Tesla. So I think you have to do it.
But dude, you don't get the windshield, and you don't get the Falcon wing doors, and you don't get the fancy seats and stuff. Oh well, it's not for everybody. I get that. Yeah, no, there's something to be said for the white seats. I mean, I know it's not for everybody, but they're easy to clean. You have to keep on top of them. Anyways, I did a detailing video today. You guys can watch that later. Anyways, yeah, the Stormtrooper look is pretty nice. Yeah, so have you put a deposit down? Are you seriously thinking about it, or don't know?
Well, she hasn't driven my car yet, so I think that's going to happen tomorrow.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Wow. After all this time, she still hasn't driven your car.
Tomorrow, that's going to change, and then she's not going to want to put gas in a car anymore. So, this will probably happen.
Yeah, that will be the clincher. Well, it usually needs a few days for that to kind of sink in, but I don't miss the gas station in the least. You're not too far behind. Of course, you have a Volt, which is actually pretty good on gas, all things considered.
Yeah, I do about 80% of my mileage in a year on the battery, so that's not a big deal. I mean, I because I live 10 minutes from work, so it's not a big deal. So it's really just the long trips. And even when I run to downtown Montreal, I mean, I can, even beating the thing, I can still get 30 odd miles out of the battery. It's enough to get me into town, plug it in, charge it, and come home. So
awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. Well, I just want to take a moment here and just give a little bit of plug to one of our sponsors here, the great folks at Fine Lab. Did you know that recent changes in environmental laws, most modern cars' factory paints are thinner, softer, and more fragile than ever before? This is great for the world we all love and share, but not so great for your brand new car's showroom shine. Teslas are no exception to this rule and are extremely susceptible to UV damage, fading, swirl marks, bird droppings, acid rain marks, and other environmental contaminants. But don't worry, as Fine Lab has the answer. Our line of ceramic coatings were engineered to protect your Tesla's paint, leather, carpet, plastic, and wheels, effectively blocking all those UV rays and environmental factors before they ever get to ruin your brand new baby. Fine Lab offers a complete line of car care products and ceramic coatings for both the DIYer and the professional detailer. Did we mention we also have the world's first self-healing coating? Check out Fine Lab, that's FEYNLAB.com, to see the science behind the self-healing. Check out our product catalog and click Contact Us for a free quote from a certified installer in your area. Fine Lab and Tesla, we're meant for each other. So big thanks to the guys at Fine Lab. I have the product on my car, and I love it, and I highly recommend you check it out. Okay, so maybe we can take a few minutes here and take some questions, maybe from the chat. And I forgot to put it out on Twitter. I was just very occupied in getting this thing. So if anybody has any questions, I'll just send out a quick questions for our guests and see if anybody can get in some questions here. Let's just see who's online here tonight. We've got Jennifer, we've got Tim Price, a whole bunch of different people in the thing here. So Glenn. Any other thoughts here while we wait for some questions to come in, folks?
Trev.
Yeah.
I ordered a Performance Model 3. Just in case I was joining late.
You will not be sleeping for the next few. What's your ETA anyways? Did they give you an ETA on that?
It says August to October, so you could drive a couple of buses through that window, but I don't care. In my mind, I thought there was a chance I'd get a car this fall, and that falls right in line. So, yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see if it starts to tighten up. I don't know at what point they start to become more precise with it, or if you go from vague, okay, your delivery date is X. It'll be interesting to see, but as long as it's coming, it's win-win for me. If the car comes sooner, great, I get the car sooner. If it comes later, it means I can try and eke a little bit out of my stock investments to try and pay for some of this monstrous bill that's coming. So I'm good either way.
Okay, so let's see here. We got a question. I'm going to read this one off. I know it's a bit of a Canadian question, but it seems to be on everybody's lips right now. Where did it go? I have to go back up here. Sorry about that. So, gentleman named Tim Price, he says, wondering, do you think the Conservatives will phase out the $14,000 rebate or just get rid of it abruptly? And will it even be there by January when the base model begins? Now, he's asking about the Ontario, Canada $14,000 EHVIP, enhanced, electric hybrid vehicle incentive program. Anyways, so we have a new government, and the Premier has made his case that he doesn't seem to want to do anything as far as our environmental issues are concerned, and he's hell bent on canceling our cap and trade program, which we share with Ontario and California. So everybody is panicking right now, trying to figure out whether they qualify for this rebate or not. Of course, now with the Performance Model 3 and the all-wheel drive, they're not on the Ministry of Transportation Ontario's approved list yet. So you can't apply for the rebate, of course, until you get the car. Yeah, so there's a lot of talk about this. I've had some private conversations with some people that have sent me tweets that have had conversations with Mr. Ford, and the consensus seems to be that he seems to think that if you ordered a car, now don't quote me on this, but he's not going to go back and retroactively get rid of the rebates. So if you got a car in July, he's not going to claw it back. There seems to be some kind of movement, perhaps, on grandfathering a certain amount of cars, whether it's an order, a firm order, who knows. We'll have to wait and see. He actually takes oath tomorrow. So we'll see what transpires with that. I've also been told that the rebate in Ontario is not a law. It's just something that they do. It's part of the cap and trade thing. So because it's not a law, he could literally call the Ministry of Transportation Ontario office and say, no more rebates. Click. And that's all it would take. And they would just have to stop processing the rebates and process what's already in that's already in process. But anybody else who's applying for it would get cut off. So it really remains to see just how fast he can actually act on these things. He's made a pretty good case that he wants to cancel the situation. So the rebates, even though they're funded by the cap and trade program, they're not by law. So they're almost like a separate entity. So that could be canceled at any time. So I don't know what's going to happen. I really hope that they would put some kind of grandfather clause in there, because I know a lot of people are counting on this rebate. So our point's not really get political about this whole thing, but it is something that's on everybody's mind. So I'll just leave it like that, and we'll see what transpires. I'll be following it very closely. Watch my Twitter feed. If anything happens, I'll let you know as soon as possible. Let's see here. What else? Maybe a couple other questions. What's the fastest charging? Pooh Bear Cretu says, what's the fastest charging rate anyone has seen? Michael, I'm just curious to see what kind of charge rate have you gotten on your Model 3? Michael, anyone?
Sorry, I was on mute.
Oh, sorry.
I'm trying to remember, because it's been a little while since I supercharged, to be honest. What was it? Trevor, I'm drawing a blank. My road trip was already 2 months ago, and I haven't supercharged since. I'm working on a charging video Tuesday, so it's good timing.
Oh, good.
I'll catch up with you guys next week.
That's a good question. The highest I've ever seen on my Model X, given its different battery technology, of course, the different cells, 106 kilowatts. Most of the time, it's been about 96, somewhere in there. That's about 96 is about the highest, but the other day I got 106. So, but the Model 3 charges like a beast. So there's something going on in there. That's a little different. Let's see here.
The non-Tesla owner has beat you both. I actually, when I was in Las Vegas with a Model S, I was getting like 114 or something.
Holy mackerel! Really?
Yeah. I was pretty much alone in the whole place, and it was a warm, just maybe the right temperature and everything else, because it was pretty warm.
Temperature, state of charge, all of the things matter. I've noticed. Yeah. I mean, I did some testing in the winter months when I got my car. If the battery's cold, and on the Model X you can turn on long range mode. Of course, you don't have that on the Model 3, but that turns off the battery heater. So all these little things. So I got in the habit, if I wanted some extra range, because in the winter months it really does affect the car. So I would turn on range mode, and about 45 minutes before I was to reach my supercharging destination, I would actually turn it off, and that would start heating up the battery. And that would basically guaranteed I would get at least 50 kilowatts a charge rate. I plugged into the supercharger, because if I didn't do that, it would be pretty cold, and it wouldn't work all that well. So anyway, these are all things you learn as you go. Let's see here. Let's take one more question. I lost my mouse here. Where's it go? Yeah, everybody's talking about charge rates right now. We're moving on to something else, folks. Let's see here. Grando says, hey, what do you and your guests feel about cars like BMW M3, M4, and Mercedes C-AMG with the performance Model 3 price that it is now? Well, Ian, that's your baby. What's your
Yeah,
opinion?
minutes before we came on the air, I thought, damn, I should have thought of rejigging my price chart to see where those cars fall in, because it does change things dramatically. I mean, it really, especially in the U.S. where you can get the tax credit on the three. Ooh-wee, that's really going to put it in the heart and soul of the game. It's going to beat the U.S. M3 pricing hands down. I mean, it's pretty much close to level now. You throw in the tax credit, and the M3 is more expensive than the Model 3 Performance now. Now, of course, you're not getting the same level of wheel and tire. You're getting just a basic Michelin touring tire if you don't equip it with the performance upgrade package, which is another $6,600. So let me tell you what, for everyone interested, I'm going to rejigger that price comparison chart. I'll do one for the U.S. and for Canada, and we can make it a good little talking point. Because this was a major game change this week.
No, I agree 100%. You should update the spreadsheet. We'll have it a talking point in a future podcast, and we'll be able to do a better comparison.
Yeah.
Here's another question here from Brian Bull. It says, thoughts on how long the tent will be there forever or more in the future? Now, what he's talking about, of course, is this GA4, the General Assembly 4 line that Tesla built in about 2 weeks. There's some really good pictures out there. I think Fred Electric just put out an article talking about this. And the consensus is that the tent appears to be a permanent structure. You have to be careful. People are calling it a tent. It's more than a tent. It's more like a permanent hangar. It's built as some very strong stuff. I mean, and I think it's a permanent structure until Tesla deems that they may need to build something a little more permanent around it in traditional things. The nice thing about these there's a word for this thing. But anyways, I'll call it a tent for lack of a better name. These things can be erected very quickly, and it's not the first time Tesla's done this. They've done it at the Fremont factory many times before. When I was there last year, they had some of these tents erected where they were housing some of the production equipment for the Model 3 as temporary until they were installing it. So this is not out of the ordinary for them. It also falls into some of their plans to expand the Fremont factory. They have a certain footprint, and they put out a plan, I think it was a couple of years ago in 2016, where they wanted to double the size, well, almost double the size of the factory by building some different structures in the different areas that they could and changing the parking lots around and so on and so forth, because they're bursting at the seams. They just have no more room to grow in this factory. So the bottom line, this tent is here to stay. Whether they dismantle it and actually erect a more permanent hard structure around it remains to be seen. But I don't think this is this is the last time we've seen of anything like this. There will be more as production increases. It also falls into my belief that as they move forward with more cars, obviously the Model Y can't be done in Fremont. They've made that pretty obvious. That they're going to have to announce somewhere else. I'm still thinking it's going to be at the Gigafactory. They're going to be expanding the Gigafactory, I think, in the next little while. Whether that requires a capital raise, that's a discussion for another day. Plus the fact, I think, Tesla's, I think they're going to be profitable very soon. With the fact that Model 3 production, when they announce the numbers, will finally, relieve a lot of people, because they've been talking about getting to 5,000 cars a week for quite a while now, and we're there now. I'm pretty sure of it. So it remains to be seen what's going on right there. So that's my thought on the tents. You guys have any thoughts on that before we move on to the next one, maybe?
Well, I would add, more important than worrying about the fact that it's a tent, Elon said the quality coming off of that line is slightly better. So that's a great sign. I really don't care if it's a tent, if it's a building, if it's something in between. All that matters is the speed and the quality. And if you've got both, fantastic. Build more of them.
Yeah. I just got inspired. I think I'm going to come up with a new line of shirts. My car was built in a tent. Was yours?
Well, I'm with Michael on this. I mean, who cares? They could be building in the Boring Company tunnel for all I cared. At the end of the day, you get the car. Is the quality the same? That's what matters. It's California. You can build it out in a park if they had to. Not that big of a deal. Anyhow, it looks like that's about the end of our questions for tonight. Any last thoughts, guys, before we sign off for this evening?
No. Well, the only thing I'll say is I don't know if I can say patiently anymore. I really want Summon. I cannot wait to move my car with my phone, and I feel like a little kid waiting for a remote control car. And I keep watching my phone to see the alert for the update.
It's a party trick. You'll do it once, and you'll be like, "Okay, done it." You'll never use it again. I've literally not used Summon for anything practical. It's always been a party trick. It gets people's attention. Of course, with the Model X, more people want to see the little, the Christmas show. That's a common thing. But most people don't even know about Summon. And when the Christmas show, I say, "Oh, I haven't seen anything yet. Watch this." But literally, that's the only time I've actually ever used Summon, other than till today, just to test the fact that if I could get it in the garage or not. But anyways, yes, I know a lot of people want to see Summon, but I'm like, it's a party trick. Whatever. All right, guys. Well, let's sign off on this one. So, Michael, where can people find you on the internet?
You can now find me on Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook under the new name Tesla Tunity, as well as on the forums under SoFlaw Model 3.
Excellent. Yes, please subscribe to Michael's channel. I'll put a link in the video description, and you guys can check it out. He's got some good quality stuff there. How about you, Ian? Where can people find you if they want to chit-chat with Mr. Pavelko?
Easiest way is at Ian Pavelko on Twitter. Trevor, you normally throw our handles up there, so Pavelko, Pavelko, Ian. And on the forum, Mad Hungarian on Model3ownersclub.com. I'm on there on a fairly regular basis. Any specific questions about wheels and tires, that's my specialty. And then, of course, if you're looking for one of the now infamous Evolve shirts, you can find those at teespring.com. Just look up Mad Hungarian Evolve, and you'll find my storefront. And we've solved the problem of the missing sizes and colors. I've got these new next level series shirts, which are the same quality as the American Apparel, and they're available in every conceivable size and color and everything else. So if you want your new Evolve shirt in the exact color of your dreams, it is available now at teespring.com, Mad Hungarian Evolve.
Great. Thanks a lot. I'll put a link to your t-shirts in the video description if you guys want to check out. I love a shirt. I wear it on a regular basis. Anyhow, that's it for this week, folks. We thank you very much for tuning in, and we'll catch you on the next one. So have a good night, and we'll see you later. Bye for now.